The experience of learning hard games is something that's best understood by doing it yourself. But there's still a lot of things you can pick up by talking to people or watching YouTube videos. So in this video, I'm going to go over my 1 week journey of learning GunZ the Duel, one of the most popular free-to-play shooters from the early 2000s, and sometimes called the most mechanically difficult game, whatever that means. And then I'll show you how I'm applying 3 high-level game design ideas from GunZ into my own game. And these ideas are muscle memory, which is a lot of subconscious learning of motor skills in your sleep, a sense of fulfillment from constantly being challenged and improving at a hard skill, as opposed to what a lot of games do, which is give you some sort of superficial reward like ranking up, leveling up, in-game currency, so it feels like you're progressing where you're not actually learning very much. And then thirdly, which is more specific to GunZ, but a shooting game that plays like a fighting game, because in GunZ there's this animation canceling mechanic, which I'll talk about later, but because of this you can chain together combos really fast, but you first have to ingrain those combos in muscle memory so that during the game you can think about more high level strategy stuff. I'm not very good at shooters or fighting games, so when I started a few weeks ago, I just looked up a few tutorials on YouTube and I started practicing some simple moves. There are way too many combos for me to learn, so I picked a few that I thought would be most helpful for getting me up and running and being at least able to play in a match with other people. And the first one I tried to learn is called the butterfly. I am not doing it correctly, and also it's not very effective just to spam this same move again and again in a real match situation, but I mean, that's just what you have to do to get started. It was really hard at first, but as the days went by, I started adding on a few more moves, and a lot of times I would practice for a couple hours and I wouldn't really get it, but then when I go to sleep and come back the next day, it would just magically become a lot easier. And as I saw the clear improvement, the game started getting a lot more fun as well. After about a week of this, it would have been good to play in some tournaments or maybe some ranked matches just to see how I would perform in a higher pressure situation. But the GunZ community is not very active these days. There's not really many tournaments, and the private server I'm playing on only has like 200 active players at any given time. So instead, I turned on my Twitch stream and I just asked around in all the random public lobbies I was playing in if anyone wants to help coach me and get me to the next level. I started by asking specific questions because I thought this would be easier for people to help me with, but it wasn't really getting anywhere. Maybe we need to look for a coach before we just randomly go into these public training maps. Alright, let's go and try to ask for some more coaching. We are at a solid 10 and 97. And then Twitch chat came to the rescue. Am I new to GunZ? Yes, I'm new to GunZ. I'm looking for someone to teach me. I can make a room, it's called a duel, and people can join. Okay. How do I like maximize the chance that I get someone who wants to help me? Ah. Learn how to reload shot in basic. Reload shot is one of the basic animation canceling moves. By pressing reload after you shoot your shotgun, you cancel the recoil animation. Then you cancel the reload animation by switching to your second shotgun, and then you can shoot your second shot faster than if you shot 2 shots with your first shotgun. Have to do a second reload there. Oh, finally. I'm trying to learn wall climb. Is this? Wall climb, another basic animation canceling move. These moves are tough to learn because they weren't intended by the developers. They're glitches that the player base learned to exploit to gain an advantage in combat. Learning these moves is a lot like learning a combo in a fighting game like Street Fighter or Smash. Oh hey, he's trying to teach me. Okay, I see. Thank you very much, Mr. Wall. To my genuine surprise, the random guy in the lobby, who is not the same as the guy coaching me on Twitch chat, also tries to teach me. Okay, let's start super simple. How do I just keep going up? Now another good player joins my lobby and tries to help me, and I swear I did not plan this out beforehand. And looking back on the footage, this is the same player that I randomly queued into a week ago and tried to third party. Is there a cap though for like how high I can go? Like, can you get to the roof here? Okay, let's try it from the side. Okay, now we have to learn how to shoot. Right. Okay, gotta relax. This game is like making me too tense. It's a little bit easier if I face the wall, I think. Okay, now we face the side. Hey! Slightly better. Highs explains to me that even when I'm climbing, I also have to switch between my two shotguns to get the fastest firing rate. Let me try to alternate then. Ah! Well-posted RSS is technically all you need. What have you learned so far? Basically those two. And also the reload shot. I think I'm good for today. But thank you very much for the coaching, boys. I don't want to be playing guns too much because the goal was to learn enough to apply it to my own game. I want to keep the specific details of my game a surprise when it comes out, because it's not very helpful for me to sit here theory crafting and talking about half-baked ideas. I usually like seeing people play around with my stuff, but at the same time, it's easier to explain something when I have a concrete example. So I want to talk about a custom competitive Fortnite map that I made over the last few months. I have a few freelancers helping me out, but it's mostly me. And I did get a lot of inspiration from GunZ. So this is not the main game I'm working on. Fortnite is just an easy way to prototype and acquire users faster. And I'm not making this video to promote the map or anything because most of my viewers are not Fortnite players, and I'm not expecting you to download a 100 GB game and learn how to play Fortnite, which takes hundreds of hours, just so you can play my one like custom competitive map. But I hope you will learn something from this explanation because the last few months I improved a lot as a game designer, and I think a lot of the things that I did could be applicable to other games if you sort of extract out the overarching themes. So when I started working on the Fortnite map, which is called Brainwash Royale, I wanted to make sure I had a high skills ceiling. Humans have a natural desire to improve, and many games take advantage of this by rewarding progress. But in my experience, it's way more fun and useful when you're actually improving at a hard skill instead of getting digital rewards. The building mechanics are the essence of Fortnite. Because of building, Fortnite is another shooter that relies heavily on muscle memory and plays more like a fighting game. Again, this was probably unintentional from the developers. Since I've been making Fortnite maps this year, I was very interested in learning GunZ to see what I could learn about animation cancelling that could apply to the building mechanic. The problem is, Fortnite maps are made in the Unreal editor for Fortnite, which is a simple game engine and it doesn't let you change building very much. So then I thought, how can we make building more beginner friendly without dumbing it down? And that's how I came up with the brainwashing mechanic. Everybody starts the game solo, but once you defeat a player, they go into this crawling state, and you can revive them onto your team. Problem is, the game gets imbalanced quickly when teams get too large and players start intentionally dying to join a stronger team. I also wanted to remove the downtime when players are waiting for a revive, especially if they get killed while they're crawling and have to wait until the next round, so I made every player instantly respawn when they die. If you get a kill while you're still solo, the player you defeated instantly respawns on your team. Once you have a duo, any other players you kill won't join your team, but other solo players can disband your team by killing you or your duo. You can also friendly fire your duo if they're not helpful and you want to ditch them for someone else. I wanted to make team building a core gameplay aspect, instead of something you do before the match on Discord or have no control over. And the idea here is to incentivize the stronger player to help out the weaker player. So we're not making building easier, but we're helping you find a buddy so that they can help you out and motivate you to learn the game. Because of instant respawn, I can't have a battle royale or deathmatch win condition, so I went with objective capture. Initially, I put the shrine in the center and you win by standing in the shrine for a minute. If you and your duo stand together, your capture rate is doubled. Objective capture has another advantage. Players can join the round at any time and it wouldn't be too unfair to other players, increasing the chances of filling a lobby. But by having just a single static objective, every round ends up as a huge clusterfuck of builds in the middle of the map. To force players to move, I replaced the central shrine with 3 shrines in the perimeter. One is active at a time, and the active shrine switches every 3 minutes. This is like how the storm circle forces players to move around, but opens up possibilities for more player exploration in the future, since you can stray further from the active shrine when you're confident it's not going to be captured. The oasis in the center is currently a fishing zone where you can get slurp fishes for healing, but fishing is too slow, so I'm going to replace it with something else. The map got to the point where I decided to just focus on the standalone game, rebuilding everything in Unity because most of the ideas can't be implemented in the Unreal editor for Fortnite, and I knew that when I started, but I still wanted to get something working and get player feedback before investing a lot of time and money making the full game. And the full game is not just going to be like a better version of Brainwash Royale. It's going to be a new game, but there are going to be some concepts that I've already tested in the map and I think are pretty fun. The Fortnite ecosystem is like its own thing. It's very hard to get Fortnite players to go somewhere else. Like for example, go on to a Steam game. I actually don't think there is any example. Like for example, like how Dota came from Warcraft 3. I don't think there's any example of a successful Steam game that came from a Fortnite map initially. And vice versa as well. It's very hard to get players, for example, from like a YouTube channel like this to go and download a Fortnite map because like if you wanted to play Fortnite, you'd already be playing Fortnite. It's very important for me to play competitive games outside of Fortnite because a lot of the problems that me and my small team will face when making our own game will already have been solved by other games. And even if these other games are super old like GunZ, there's still a lot that I can learn from the game design. I know that my try-hard approach of playing games like how you would study for a test or practice a musical instrument is not for everybody, but even if you're just playing games for fun, games are a lot more fun if you're good at them. And hard games like GunZ or competitive Fortnite put a lot of people off because they don't have the grind set mentality to bust through that initial steep learning curve. And this is something I think about a lot because I want to make my games accessible without dumbing them down. Because I believe, at least for the kind of games I want to make, the core audience of competitive players or content creators who play the game a lot, even if they represent a small fraction of the player base, they are the players who will give my game longevity and give it a chance to last many, many years. And obviously, I don't have all the solutions for how to do this, but I'm not here to give you advice on how to do anything. I just want to tell you where I'm at and how I got here, and then it's up to you to make your own conclusions for what to do with it.